Today I'm going to show you about derived parts. Now, one of the things we can use bodies for is actually creating derived parts. So if I select, let's say, the spokes of this wheel, I can right click and say insert into new part. And this will be a derived part. And I'll name this spokes too. I think I've already saved spokes. So I'm gonna save this as a new part just like that. And we'll say no. We've gone over that before. And as you can see, the spokes are their own body part right here. Now, if we go back here, the reason this is derived is if I actually go here and I edit this sketch, and let's say I change this dimension to like 1.25, make it smaller, and exit that. Now, if I go into this part, and I think it's already rebuilded, but if we go in here and go to evaluate measure between these 2 points, so I can select them, this, goes to these edges, and as you can see, it's in MGS. But if I change this to inches, okay. You can see it's 1.25 now. So this part is derived from this. So if we change any dimensions on this, it'll change in this spokes 2 part right here. And that's the same if we move the spokes 2 part into an assembly and we change here, it'll change in that assembly as well. There are a couple different ways to actually reach this. The property manager that I use, you can actually select them in, select these in the graphics area. And that works the same way. You can come back over here and have them all selected, and yeah, that is the insert into new part command. Now I'm going to go to this assembly here, and I'm going to show you a couple different things. So another derived part we can do is actually creating a left-hand version of a mirror. So I'm going to mirror this assembly. I'm going to select this as the mirror plane, and I'm going to select both of these parts. And I'm going to go to this next arrow. Now, we have a couple options. This is the default, where it kind of it mirrors the X and flipped and mirrored the Y. And we have a couple different options, and you can kind of see with the preview what they do. But the one I'm curious about is this one. Create opposite hand version. Now what this does is, as you can see, it looks like it's just doing a normal, a kind of a normal mirror, but I'm going to show you that it's not. So when you create an opposite hand version, you can actually create a part. It actually can create a new part that is this opposite hand version. And and I'll show you a little later how that works. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to derive a component part using a part from an assembly. So if we go to select a component, so I'm going to select this base and go to File, Derive Component Part. We'll select a template, and then here it kind of brings us into a new part. And then we have a bunch of different options to transfer. So you can select basically what you want to bring over from the original part into this derived part. So I want to bring solid bodies, sure. I don't really care about these. Cosmetic threads, I don't believe I even have any, but that's fine. But this is the default. Body material, part material. If you have hole wizards in there, you can choose this and it'll bring the data over. Model dimensions, coordinate systems, all these things. You can select as many as you need to transfer over to your derived part. Now, if you want to just make this its own part, you can say break link to original part, and this will just create it as its own part. If you can modify the original part, and it won't change this part at all, but we're not going to do that right now. But that's the option if you want to do that. So we're going to click check, and now we have this new derived part, and we can save it with whatever we want. But I'm going to kind of show you how the derived part works. So I'm gonna make a little sketch here, and I'm gonna extrude cut this through all. Okay, so in this derived part, I created a hole right here. I'm gonna go back to the original, and as you can see, that rectangle did not show up at all because the derived part only works one way. It doesn't work from the derived part to the original. You can modify the derived part all you want and it won't affect the original. But if I go into here and edit this part, and I go in and I sketch on here, and let's say we put this here, and extrude cut it through all, sure, check. And we exit this. Now you can see a couple things. This is what I was talking about the left-hand part. So as you can see, normally when you have a mirror and you do a feature like this, it would move the feature onto this side of the part like a full mirror. But because of the left-hand part, it kept it on this side. Because it was an opposite hand version, it kept it on this side. If you kept it a normal mirror, it would have swapped to the other side. But now let's go back to our derived part, and as you can see, that feature shows up in the derived part. So anything you do in the original part will show up in the derived part.